Many people are very concerned whether the DAP and Guardian will come to a compromise. To agree to disagree. I do not know what is the outcome, but I do see that you are quite optimistic that you can come to a very happy conclusion with them. I do think that, can you elaborate some, because you say a few seats.
I interject, Dr. Chair. You know why? Penang is, of course, the most difficult, really, because, DAP takes the lead, and there are some very prominent, qualified Chinese. I mentioned some of them here. And then there's also the Malay sensitivity of seeing this huge Chinese opposition to the UMNO-dominated government. So we discuss. And to be fair, it's not only Keadilan members, even DAP leaders finally saw a way out. And we could agree on seat allocation. Not fully satisfactory. I tell you, I was hammered a great deal too. After 3 years coming out from prison, this was the first time I was hammered in Penang by Keadilan, but in private. I, of course, appreciate, because some of this constituency, I launched the election strategy in that constituency, and now we say, no, sorry, we have to give that to DAP. Similarly, the DAP also face the same problems. So I think if we want to succeed, we must swallow our personal pride and look for the bigger agenda. And if we can succeed in Penang, there's no reason why we cannot succeed in other states.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Because I do come to know that the opposition is going to deny the Barisan National two-third majority. Do you think that in this year election you can achieve of this target or not?
If elections are going to be held tomorrow, we can deny UMNO Barisan two-third majority. I am convinced of that.
Based on what reason? You give some...
There are following reasons. In the past, there's always a reaction. If the Chinese opposition is seen to be too strong, the Malays will react, like you saw in Penang in 1990. If you see the Malays are too strong, the Chinese and the Indians react, as you saw in 1999. That is why our strategy now, that this is not going to be a Chinese opposition or a Malay opposition. This is going to be a Chinese, Malay, Indian effort at challenging the arrogance and corruption of UMNO and Barisan Nasional. Now, I say this because in 50 years after independence, at no time have you seen UMNO this arrogant. No time. I was in the UMNO from 82 to 98. Yes, there were problems, but never this arrogant, that ministers just dismissed. No, we will not talk to you. No, we will not meet you. I had big problems with the Chinese educationists, but never had I said, no, we will refuse to talk to you. Now that happened. We can have UMNO youth leaders pinpointing to Suu leaders. We have UMNO youth leader, Minister of Education, brandishing the craze, indirectly warning the Chinese. And now they think by allocating 13 schools, the Chinese can be bought over. I think they have made a big mistake in underestimating the Chinese. Now, that is in terms of governance. Look at corruption. Corruption in this government has been so endemic, worse than even what I saw when I was finance minister. Look at the commission taken for buying of submarines, for buying of Sukhoi jets, for Pelabuhan Klang, which involves MCA leaders. Who cares? No government minister cares. Look at the corruption in the judiciary, in the Suruhanjaya Commission of Inquiry. These are all factors. And more important to me, the number one case, we have lost our competitiveness. We have lost to Vietnam. Never mind China, India. We have lost a long time ago. We have lost to Vietnam. We have lost to Indonesia in FDI. We have lost to Thailand. Do we want to lose to Burma? You support Barisan Nasional. I can assure you, we will lose to Burma.
One question, I read it from the newspaper, Ong Ka Teng, the MCA president. He said the Operation Lalang in 1987, because of Anwar, he sent some of the non-Chinese cannot proficient in Mandarin go to Chinese school. That's because of your fault. What are you going to explain to them?
I don't need to respond to Angkating. He's a small guy in the government. Nobody hears him. He does not have the courage to speak to the Prime Minister or Deputy Prime Minister. One of the weakest MCA leaders in history. So for him to say, to attack me, because he has no courage to check the excesses of this government. That is rule number one. Now, number two, let us look at the facts. Operasi Lalang happened after Datuk Najib was UMNO youth leader, organized a public rally of UMNO youth and Malays in the TPCA Stadium, Kampung Baru. That was used as a pretext. So, and there was a big exchange between him and Lee Kim Sai, the MCA youth. And that triggered Operasi Lalang. What does Ong Kating say? Back to Anwar Ibrahim. You know why? Because he has no courage to face Datuk Najib and say what happened in 1987 before the Operasi Lalang. Now, I don't deal with these weak leaders. You want to argue, you come, and I'm prepared to face him anytime, anywhere. Give him half an hour, give me 20 minutes. Now, I accept there was this controversy about this appointing of Penulong Guru Besar, Deputy Guru Headmaster in primary schools, co-curriculum, where I did appoint a few Chinese but non-Chinese speaking at the time to communicate with Jabatan Pendidikan, Pegawai Pendidikan Daerah, District Education Office, and the State Education Office. Now, my reason then was we did not have both senior and both who had Chinese who had good proficiency in the Chinese and Malay language. But did I change the character of Chinese schools? No. Now, I want to ask the MCA leaders, why did you shut up when the character of Chinese schools, teaching of mathematics and science in the English language is still being continued? Where the Malays are opposing it, the Chinese are opposing it, but the UMNO leaders are so arrogant to continue, and the MCA leaders are so weak as to allow this to happen without any challenge. That is my answer to Ong Kating, and I welcome his reply.
Okay, now we come to another question. That's quite interesting. You mentioned recently that if you cannot take part in the general election, after the election, after April, that you are going to stand a by-election. I would like to ask you is that how many seats of Galilan won in the parliament, then you are going to stand for by-election? If one seat, there's no point for you, because you are going to be the opposition leader. I would like to ask you the minimum point, how many seats that you expect Galilan to be won, then you want to stand for by-election?
The Galilan leaders have challenged Abdullah Badawi. If you are what you claim to be, a fair, nice man, then have elections after April and allow me to contest. After all, you know the type of judiciary, the type of government that led me into jail. Who can deny the fact that Mokhtar Abdullah, the AG, was corrupt? He's dead now. Brought by Vincent Tan and Vicky Lingam to